I want to ask is like tattoos and piercings a sin?
Good question. In Leviticus we read, don't put tattoos on your body.
Isn't that the Old Testament?
Exactly, it's Leviticus. Now the question, see, what you always got to do when you interpret, you got to put it in context. So the question is, why in Leviticus would it say that tattoos are bad? All you got to do is read Elijah on Mount Carmel, competing against the prophets of Baal. God sent fire, and the people of Israel are watching, and they're seeking to determine who's the real true living God, Baal or Yahweh. The prophets of Baal pray, Baal, send fire, Baal, send fire. Nothing happens. What do? They start cutting themselves. The blood begins to flow. Why? Because that culture, that religion taught, if you want to get God's attention, you start cutting yourself, let the blood flow, and then God will answer your prayers. Then God will give you his attention. That's false. And so very clearly in Leviticus, God is calling the Hebrew people to be different from all the cultures around them. And one example is tattoos, marking your body, cutting yourself. So I would argue that because that was for that culture and time, there is nothing wrong with tattoos, biblically. Similarly, in Leviticus it says, you are not to wear clothing made of different cloth. Now why would they do something like that? I mean, what's the point? Well, the point is that in that day, there was polytheism, many gods, belief in many gods. And they would mix the gods. And what God is trying to do in the book of Leviticus for the Jews is tell them there's one God, not many. And so you're not going to mix everything together. And so therefore he says you only wear clothing of one cloth. But the second point is this. The priests did wear clothing of different cloth, linen and wool, and that's because they were priests, and they were set aside. Now, I don't know which one's the accurate explanation of why God says don't wear clothing with mixed cloth in it, okay? But you see, the point is, when you got something difficult in the Bible, and there are many difficult things in the Bible, you don't just say contradiction, big problem. Instead, you learn to study the context, the culture. So what's the point of the author?
But didn't it say, don't mark your body with like something of death? Right? Didn't it say that in the Bible?
In Leviticus, it says don't put tattoos on your body.
Yeah, but it also said, like, right next to it said, don't mark your body with a sign of death.
Okay.
Didn't it say that?
It might. I can't remember, to tell you the truth. I don't know. But I do know it says very clearly no tattoos. And so you're right, sir. A lot of guys come up to me and say, Cliff, does the Bible say we're not allowed to get tattoos? And I say, no. You've got to understand the context. And the context is the Canaanite religions, to get God's attention, you not only tattooed, you cut yourself. And you let the blood flow, and that's the way you're going to convince God that you're really sincere. You're really genuine. And God says, no, you don't do it that way. With your heart, you talk to me. Sincerely, genuinely, honestly, talk to me. And I'm going to listen to you. You don't have to cut yourself to get my attention.